You just say Stanley, whatever he says. That's how we get the information. We're doing exposition here. That's the way we're going to sneak it in.
Okay.
So we're there. You're at this Oval Office, and what happened?
Yeah, he sat me down, complimented me on 2001, and then he said,
You're doing it right. You're doing it kind of academically. Enjoy the story. You're spinning a yarn here.
Right.
So you go in there. They offer you a drink. Tell me, set the stage.
Yeah, and he was already drinking, so I decided to join him. I don't remember what I had because I drink almost anything. He was drinking Dewar's, I think, which, I mean, if you're going to drink Scotch, okay, but Dewar's, I don't know. Anyway, he complimented me on 2001, and then he said, speaking of space, you know about President Kennedy's prediction of going to the moon by the end of the decade.
Well, it was almost like a mandate. Like he's sort of like, through the
space. You know about President Kennedy's prediction of going to the moon by the end of the decade.
Well, it was almost like a mandate. Like he's sort of like, threw the gauntlet down.
And he said, well, time is running out, and we want to do that, but we can't. It's impossible. We tried. We've been testing this for years. As you may have heard, there was a launch pad accident in 1967 in which the famous Gus Grissom was killed and 2 other astronauts. Gus was a good guy, but anyway, and it can't be done. We talked to every scientist imaginable. It just cannot be done. But after seeing your film, I am convinced, and the gentlemen at NASA are also convinced, that you can help us make people believe that we have been to the moon and back.
And you must have been startled at that moment. Okay.
Actually, a little bit, but I also knew where this was going, and I thought, what a trip. What a trip this is for me, as an artist.
Okay, you were still young and wide-eyed.
I couldn't help it.
Okay.
It's part of being. It's like the. It's the DNA or something of an artist.
Like your adrenaline got going.
Yes.
Your juice is flowing. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
And I was excited.
All right,
He
go
didn't
on.
even have to finish, but he did, and explained to me that he wanted me to film a fake landing with fake astronauts. Well, not real astronauts, but faking the exploration of space.
Because they just knew they couldn't get there.
Because there was just no way we could get there.
And the political, I mean, they'd spent all that money, I guess. And
Yes.
There was a political brinksmanship going on.
Of course, Nixon wanted to make a big splash. It was early in his presidency.
Yeah,
And,
that would have made him look really like a failure.
He wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted his approval points up, and he thought nothing could do it better than this, to fulfill this dream that America has had as a country since the Kennedy years.
Okay, so you're saying the motivation was PR.
PR, absolutely, plain simple,
Okay.
PR.
All right. And the geopolitical chess match between Russia that was going on, it would have weakened
Yes.
their position, so to speak.
Yes.
And I guess
That
money.
was background. That was great background for the story. Yes.
But it was also, it must have been about,
Because
everything
there
was
was
about
still
money, though.
a red fear, a communist fear among the people.
Right. Sure, that was right. You're coming to the,
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, missile crisis and all that. Okay. But it's also really about, like anything else, about money. I mean, they'd spent, the equivalent of $1 billion, almost $1 trillion of our dollars now on this program.
Yes. In addition to being
that must have-
impossible and unsafe, it was also terribly expensive.
But no, what
that's
I'm saying
the
is that it was so expensive that to fail would not, quote unquote, not be an option. In other words, at a certain point, you spend so much taxpayer money. My question I'm asking is Nixon motivated, whoever these men that decided this to perpetrate this fraud, was it the money? In other words, if you can't go to or maybe you can, I don't know. Can you go to the American people after spending $1 trillion and say, we've got nothing to show for it?
No.
So
Obviously.
But I'm saying is how much of that was the motivation?
Of course, that was a huge part of it. A huge part of it.
the part, really. Again, so many people, and the funding would have dried up. You have to go with that because that's going to be the whole Neil thing. That's why Neil goes along with it, because so Neil doesn't want the program to die.
Right.
Okay. So it's the money. It's the
Yes.
right. It's the PR, politics. It's Russia, and it's the money. Okay.
Yes.
So it's balls and so it's already. So what did Nixon say at the very end? He looked me in the eye. Give me the clothes. Okay. So. And give me some color, like some things happening. So he sat down and he sighed. Looked into the fireplace. Give me some details.
All
right. So he said all that, and then what?
I think this was hard for him to get out. This next part, but he said the NASA's funds are just drying up.
No, it's. They can't fund something that doesn't work.
Yes.
If we don't fake it, if we tell them the truth, the money goes away, and we think we're this close.
Yes.
So we have to lie. It's a good lie. It's a lie for a good reason. We're this close.
Yes.
But they never got closer. So it was even in earnest, maybe, perhaps. Got it? And it makes sense. It's like we can't keep the kid on chemotherapy if it's not working. So we're going to say it's working because we want to keep the kid on chemo. Like we're going to lie to save his life. Got it?
Yes.
This is a motive. Got it? And this is that's a motive that's actually you can sympathize with that. Got that? Like wow, all those jobs that you want to do. That's the hook. Got it? Okay. So Nixon says to you. So he goes in for the big close and he says you got to do it. And he guilts you about merit patriotism?
Have to save NASA.
Okay.
It was in deep trouble, and this would
why was it in deep trouble?
Just spent so damn much money, billions and billions of dollars. This would save them. This great PR would save them.
It's the reverse. It would destroy them if the truth came out. They weren't a damaged agency. They were the hottest agency in the world, Tom. If the truth came out, no. I said, if the truth comes out, NASA is destroyed overnight. The program's destroyed overnight.
All right.
They weren't a hurting agency. They were the hottest thing in the news. They were the darlings of everyone. But then they realized they couldn't go. Tell the truth and become the stepchild, the redheaded stepchild, and lose the money, or lie, and then we'll get there in 73. So keep it going. That was the kicking can down the road rationalization they made.
All right.
It's simple though. Okay, ready? So Nixon.
If you keep making it up,
I'm not making it up. It's the plausible reason.
All right, Tim.
It's not even up. I'm not making it up. Why would you lie about this, Tom? Why? To keep the funding, to keep the program going so you can get there. But it never happened because it just was insurmountable.
All right.
That's it. Okay. So I'm not making anything up.
Okay.
PR with the Russians. We don't want to kill those boys. It's unsafe. And the money.
We couldn't.
So Nixon says what? Give me some details. Give me some detaels. He sat down.
We couldn't just tell people the truth.
Let's start to them. The big finish. So Nixon sat down. Give me some color. Tell a story.
Go back to the beginning?
No.
All right.
Keep color. So Nixon at this point, I think, like you said, it was hard for him to say this next part. He sat down. He looked at his scotch. Looked into the fireplace for a minute. Took a breath. Drank the scotch, and then he said, "Stanley." And you gotta give me more Stanley.
Yeah, it was.
Gotta give me more Stanley. No. Take a pause and begin the scene. Okay. All right. Yes. And now, drink your drink while you drink your drink while you tell the story. Okay. Come on, you're reminiscing.
Yeah. Okay.
So with Nixon, and what happens? So Nixon says,
it was hard for him to say this next part. He was looking into his drink, kind of like I am now, and finally he said that we can't tell people the truth, that we can't get to the moon. It would be disastrous for NASA. Their funding would dry up. People wouldn't have faith in them anymore. It would be like
in faith, it would be over,
failure.
Right? It would be over.
Yes, it would be absolutely over. So if we fake this moon landing, it would do nothing but increase the reputation, and we could go again and again if we had to.
Well, I mean, just to go with the first time, I mean, so they wanted to keep the funding going. Why? Because
Well, obviously. What do you mean? I don't.
Well, why they wanted to lie about the moon landing to keep the funding going? Why?
Just to keep NASA viable.
Why? Why though? Why?
Why not? Because people believe in NASA.
No, because they thought that the moon landing was just a few more years. That if they would get there, they just kept the funding going. They could get there. They could figure the problems out, but they never did. So that's the point. It's not arbitrary. We want to keep NASA alive because it's the dream, and we knew that they. But
Oh,
they
so
lied.
you're saying NASA believed they still could.
They at the time, and then finally it hit them. Probably by '75, we're fucking never getting there.
All right. Okay.
That's the sympathetic reason why they did this. And you're like, wow, that makes sense, but it's still wrong. Get it?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a big thing. I said this to you. Try again. Ready? So Nixon says what? Grab your drink, and action.
What they believed was if we could.
Nixon sat down. Color. Tell me the story, Tom. Come on, color it.
Okay. Am I going back
From the ending. Nixon sat down, looked at his drink, looked in the fire, and said,
right.
"Stanley, wrap it up."
All right. So Nixon, this next part was hard for him to say.
Towards me.
He looked at his drink kind of like this and said, we have to fake this. We have to fake this moon landing, just to keep interest in NASA, and in the next few years, we might actually be able to go for real.
Come on.
Because we wouldn't give up.
No.
We'd still work on it. We would still be working on it, trying to make this trip possible. But we have to do it now.
No, because they were so close,
Because we were so damn close. We had to do it now.
And if you didn't lie, it would dry up. We were on the brink of something.
Yes, and if we didn't fake this, if we didn't lie about it, eventually people would lose interest, and the funding would dry up for NASA. It would just cease to exist.
And the dream.
And the dream would be dead. It would be gone. The greatest thing in the world for this country would be to go to the moon, and that being gone, it would be just devastating for the national mood.
It was about money.
And
it was about...
yeah. And
So I'm just giving you lines. So it was about the money. It was about the morale.
yeah, it was about morale. It was about money. It was about money. It was about morale. Chiefly money, as most things are, and that's what was